Hello student friends, welcome to the introduction to Python programming lab series for first year VTU students. In today's video we will start with our first lab program. There are totally 10 lab programs. So in first lab program there are two sub lab programs, 1A and 1B. In today's sessions we will discuss about the first lab program. Develop a Python program to read student details such as name, USN, marks in 3 subjects, and once we take the input from the user, next phase what we are going to do is we are going to display the student details, then we are going to calculate total marks and percentage, and we are going to display this total marks and percentage with suitable messages. So let us begin by taking the inputs from the user. So which are the inputs which we are supposed to take it from the user? So let us write a comment. So in order to write a comment you are supposed to use hash symbol. So inputs from the user. So this line of code will not be executed by Python. We'll consider it as a comment. So first we'll take the input, that is name. For that we'll create a variable called name. So in order to take the input from the user we need to use input function, input, then we will display a suitable message to the user so that the user will enter the correct details. Enter the student name. So next we'll create another variable called USN. We'll do the same thing what we did for a variable name. So again we'll use input function and we'll ask the user, tell the user that to enter the USN. So once we enter the USN, once USN is done, next we'll proceed to marks in 3 subjects. So let us consider our common subjects which we have in our PU first and second year, that is physics, chemistry and maths. For physics we'll create a variable name as phy and let us take the input from the user. Input is an inbuilt function which is present in Python, and we'll ask the user to enter the marks in physics. Similarly we'll do it for chemistry. We can just copy paste. We'll just select this content, Ctrl C, copy it and paste it here and replace this. Double click, if you just double click the text, that particular text will get selected and you can just replace that particular text with some other text. Same we'll do it for maths. So while giving the variable name for maths, so what we'll do, we'll give the variable name as maths, not math, because there is a module, inbuilt module which is present in Python, that is math module. Mathematics. So if I just try to execute this, okay, so in the first case it is asking me to enter the student name. So let me just enter the student name as A, B and C, and let me enter the USN as 2, suppose say USN as 2 B T, whatever it is, whatever USN you can just enter. So suppose you are 24 entry, suppose you are computer science student 001, then it is asking me to enter the marks of physics. Suppose you obtained 75, 46 and 89. So after that the program will get terminated because no lines of codes are written after this. So next phase, this is what we have to do in the first phase. In the second phase, we are supposed to display student details. So we'll just write a comment, display student details, right? So how to display student details, which function we are supposed to use in order to display the output? We are supposed to use print function. Print is an inbuilt function which is present in Python, which is used to display the output. So we need to pass a string inside this. So strings, so first we'll display the student name. So if you start a string with a double quote, make sure you end it with a double quote. Okay, if you start with single quote, you are supposed to end a string with a single quote. First, this is what will get displayed. Now in order to fetch the value, in order to fetch the name of a student, we have to call the variable. So after this, after the string, type comma. This is one way of formatting a string in print statement. Just call that variable name. Okay, so whatever value is stored in that name variable, that will be fetched by Python and it will display the output. Same will do it for USN and marks in all three subjects. Let us do it. USN of the student, and put the single quote, double quote, USN. Make sure whatever variable name you have given here is same you are supposed to use it here because it is case sensitive. So if you are using all small cases here, you are supposed to use small cases same as whatever you have given here. Next we'll display marks in all three subjects. I'll just display print marks in all three subjects. Let this be the title. The next print statement will just display the physics marks. And we'll fetch the value from a variable physics, which is phy. Same thing we'll do it for other two. I'll just copy paste this instead of chemistry, and the variable where chemistry marks are stored is CHE. Then mathematics, and variable where maths marks are stored is MATHS. Right. So let us just execute this. Right. So in order to execute this particular cell, either you have to click on run this particular symbol, or else in order to execute this, select this particular cell and click on shift enter. That particular cell will get executed. So let's enter the student name. So let me just enter ABC, and USN, let me just give a random USN. Marks so once user enters all the values, so in the next line, so based on this print statements, the output will be displayed. Now in order to differentiate between what user has entered and the display of student details, we'll just apply one concept what you will learn during the classes, that is string replication. We are going to print just so that you have a better display as in the output. I'll just use print statement, and I'll just use a symbol called asterisk in the form of strings, then just multiply this particular symbol just 30 number of times. We are just printing this. This is nothing but string replication. So in case of string replication, one must be a string, other value must be an integer value, and this will just multiply this particular string 30 number of times. We'll do it here. I'll just copy paste this and we'll do it here as well. Okay, let us just re-execute it and then let's just check random values, marks. Now you can see, so it is differentiating between the what user has inputted and display of student details. Let us proceed. So we are done with the first phase, that is reading the student details, okay, such as name, USN, marks in 3 subjects. And second phase, what we did was display the student details. The third phase is we are supposed to calculate what are total marks and percentage, and we have to display them with suitable messages. In order to calculate total marks, what we are supposed to do, let us write a comment. Calculate total marks. So in order to calculate total marks, so what we'll do, we'll create a variable called as total. In order to add the marks in all 3 subjects, we'll just add phy plus che plus maths, right? So after this, what we'll do, we'll just calculate percentage also. So for that, we'll create a variable called as percent equal to, so percent, how will you calculate percentage? Total marks, which is stored in a variable called total marks, divided by the maximum marks, that is maximum marks of sum of all 3 subjects. Suppose maximum marks for each subject is 100, so maximum marks of all 3 subjects together will be 300. Let me just create another variable called max marks. So before you use it here, you are supposed to have a variable at the beginning, or else you will get a message that variable not defined. So let us create a variable called max marks, and we'll hard code it, and we'll just assign a value of 300. So in order to calculate percentage, we'll put this in brackets. It's better we put this in brackets and multiply this with 100. So we have just calculated now what is total and what is percentage. After this, we'll display it. Display total marks and percentage. So we'll display it using print statement. So print total marks secured, you can give any message, okay, secured by the student we'll fetch it from a variable called total. Then we'll display the percentage also, percentage, and we'll fetch it from a variable called percent. Okay, so let us just execute this. So it is asking me the name. Let me just enter a random name. USL, enter. It is asking me to enter the physics marks, suppose 65, 85 and 74. Once I enter, it has to calculate what is the total marks, then it has to calculate what is percentage, and it has to display. But instead of displaying, it has given me an error. So where is the error now? Error is over here on line number 21, right? Why exactly we are getting this error? So let us just verify it. Okay, so before calculating percentage, let us display the total marks here itself, just for a while. Just display it, the total marks, by just using print statement. Let's just display it, and we'll just put a string here, total. We'll put on hyphen. We should not forget to put a comma here. Okay, before calculating, since it was giving an error on this particular line, okay, let us first display what is total marks. Okay, let me just re-execute this cell. Make sure before you are executing it, that cell is selected, then you click on run, or else you can just click on shift enter. Name, USN, marks 45, 85, 75. You can clearly see what is the total marks. So practically speaking, 45 plus 85 is how much? 130. 130 plus 75 is how much? 205. So total marks must be how much? It should be 205. Instead of that, what it is doing? It is just displaying 45, 85 and 75. So what here, it is not doing integer calculation, it is doing string addition. Now it is not doing integer addition. So what is this physics? If I just try to check what is the type of, if I just do it in different cell, if I just try to check what is the type, if I want to check what is the type of each variable, I have to use inbuilt function, that is type, and pass that particular variable here. If I just execute this cell, so it is telling me this particular physics, we are storing a string value. Okay, if I just print that particular variable physics, phy, correct? If I just shift enter, it is a string, correct? It is not a, here number may be displayed, but still it is a string. We need to convert this string into an integer value. So we need to do typecasting. In order to convert a string into integer, what we are supposed to do, whenever we use input function in Python, by default whatever value we are putting, it is by default, even if we put integer value or a floating point number, it is by default always a string. So what we are supposed to do, once user enters the value, before it stores in a variable, in these variables we need to convert it. We are not supposed to convert for name and USN variable, because they should be strings only. We are supposed to only convert for physics, chemistry and maths variable, correct? So here we need to write input function, not input function, it is in function, which will convert a string into integer. If I want to convert integer into a string, I have to use another function called as str, inbuilt functions. So these inbuilt functions in Python should not be used as variable names. Okay, those are the keywords which are present in Python. So keywords must not be used as variable names. Let me just re-execute it now, and let me just delete this now. Okay, that we note D, because we have converted this now. Right now it will easily calculate. Let me just run this cell, and let me enter the name, USN 280, whatever you can enter. Physics marks, let me just take simple marks so that it will be easy for me to calculate. 60, 60 and 70. So what should be the total marks? 60 plus 60, 120, 120 plus 70 will be how much? 190. Total marks is 190. Now you can easily see total marks secured by the student equal to 190. Previously it was doing string concatenation operation. It was not adding integers. It was doing string addition, or it was not doing integer addition. Now if I just try to check what is the type of this particular variable, now if I just re-execute this cell, now you can see it is converted from string to integer. If I just execute this, it is 60. It is a integer value, correct? Now one more thing, you just saw this. Now it is displaying the percentage also. It is calculating the percentage. Total marks 190 divided by 300 into 100. It is just calculating this. Now so when it is displaying the output, correct, 63.333, correct, it is displaying 333 so many times. I don't want so many numbers after a decimal point, correct? So I just want two numbers after decimal point. So before displaying this percentage, so what we'll do is we'll use another function called as round, correct? And here we'll give two values in round function. Okay, so percent is one variable, okay, which you, and the second is how many decimal points you want to display after this dot, right? Make sure number of brackets what you have opened must be number of brackets what you close. Let me just close it and re-execute it, and let me just use the same numbers. Sixty, 60, 70. Now you can see it is only displaying two decimal points. Okay, since for the same variable percentage, instead of displaying so many number of numbers after decimal point, it is only displaying two because we have specified only two here. This is also inbuilt function which is present in Python. We will just round off the number, okay, based on the number what you have given here. If you don't give this, it will just round off and only give the integer value, integer number. So there will be zero numbers after the decimal point. So this completes your first lab program 1E. See, in our next session we will discuss lab program 1B. Thank you everyone.